On the overhead squat analysis from the anterior view, we can see that Sean's fingers are a little bit uneven, as shown here. This is a result of his shoulders being somewhat uneven, and that kind of translates through his hips. You can see it in the elbows and the fingers. And in the anterior view, you can also see his feet roll in a little bit. So when he comes down into the bottom of that, his feet flatten out a little bit. In the lateral view of the overhead squat, we can see that Sean's butt kind of comes down and in. This is called a butt wink, and it's usually the result of overactive hamstrings. We can see that he's going through the full range of motion here. Got a pretty good squat form overall, but he is leaning forward a little bit, as shown by our marks. And then the last issue with Sean's squat is that his arms come forward, so we can see that he's got some lack of range of motion in the shoulder. It should be staying up by his ear in that squat. For the posterior view of the overhead squat, we can see a lot of what we saw in the anterior view. You can kind of see the feet rolling in a little bit, so flattening out as he comes into the bottom of the motion. You can see that his shoulders and hands are uneven. This is really pronounced in the posterior view. Overall, pretty good. You can't see so much here, but his shoulders are, his arms are coming forward. You can kind of see how his back rounds out a little bit.
So as you can see here in Leah's single leg squat, we're looking for any imbalances, and you can see with this, with her knee going inward a little bit, she has, it could be due to a little bit of inactiveness of her medial hamstring and of her gluteus medius and maximus. And you can also notice that she has a little bit of a hip hike and an inward trunk rotation on both sides, and this shows an underactiveness of the gluteus medius on the side that's performing the squat and an underactive abductor complex. In the lateral portion, you'll really be able to see where the hike and the inward trunk rotation shows. As you can see, her foot is coming behind her, and she also does have a little bit of forward rotation in her shoulders and in her head, which could be due to tight pectoralis muscles and tight latissimus dorsi muscles. And then as we slowly move on to the posterior view, in this you will be able to really see the imbalances on the different sides, again with the hike and with the trunk rotation.
In the anterior view of the push-up form, we can see that Sean has a pretty good push-up. He's up on his toes, which is nice. The one issue that we do see is that his shoulders are a little bit bunched. They're in and forward kind of, which you can tell from our marks. So that is something that could definitely be fixed. For the lateral view, we can see that his head is pulled a little bit forward. One coaching direction that we might give to fix that is, put your eyes directly ahead so that his head is a little bit back, a little bit straighter, instead of in this kind of awkward position that he has right now.
So as you can see in Leah's gait analysis, her right foot is pointed outward, which could be a cause of the bicep femoris being a little overactive. As we move to the lateral view, you can see that her neck is actually pushing forward, her head is facing forward, and this could be due to an overactiveness of the serratus anterior, overactiveness of the trapezius muscles. And as we move to the anterior view, you'll be able to see that as she's swinging her arms, they come forward. And before this, we showed that the shoulders are pulling forward and rotated forward. So this could be due to tight pectoralis muscles.